Momzilla backhands me because I stop her demon child from touching my $3,000 PC. Now, I know you've heard a lot of these kinds of stories, but bear with me because it's not only a long one, it's my first one, and it doesn't have a happy ending. Starting off the story, my mum had her friends over for dinner because she hasn't seen them in 5 years and they have a 4-year-old kid. Also, the mum has a super big, "Where is the manager?" look. Anyways, they come over and I eat dinner. Because I'm the nice host, I ate with my guests. Also, anytime I have anyone over, I lock my door from the outside if I'm out and inside if I'm in. And my door is damaged because I slammed it once and a part of the side came off. There isn't a big hole in the door. Towards the end of dinner, I see this entitled brat running off towards my room, and I don't think anything about it because it's locked, right? I have my gaming PC in there, it's a laptop, which is important for later. Then I hear a door open, and I'm very protective of my stuff, so I get up from the dinner table to see my door open, and I'm thinking, what the frick? How? It turns out the kid unlocked the door. How? I don't even know. He goes into my room and sees my gaming chair and immediately climbs up on it and tries to climb up onto my desk where my laptop is. I freak the frick out, and I grab him and put him on the ground, trying not to hurt him, and I say, "Hey kid, you can't climb on my belongings like that." "Why not?" This kid is 4, he said nut instead of not. "Because it's expensive and you could break it." "So?" "Just get out." So the kid leaves the room and not 40 seconds later I hear, "Excuse me," and my mother's name. I kid you not, this woman stomped to my room like Godzilla and then entered very calmly with her entitled brat. "Why won't you let my son play?" What? He never said anything about playing, he was just climbing on… "I don't give a crap, let my son play on your computer, and you're too old to even be playing anyway." I'm 13, by the way. I say, "All of my games are 18 years and up, I can't let him…" "I don't give a crap, just let him play whatever." So she left without her kid, and I just said, screw it and let him play, and choose whatever game. I swear on my life I should have just put on cool math games, because this little craphead clicked on the first game he saw in Steam, which was The Forest, which is a horror and survival game. And I was like, oh crap, in my head. Not kidding, literally 5 minutes into the game, he doesn't know what to do and just slams my mouse, and I was like, oh no, that's a no-no. And I jumped in front of my laptop trying to be the shield, and he literally punches me. I don't care because it didn't hurt, and when he realizes I won't let him play, he runs out to his mother. And she excuses herself calmly again, walks up to my door, shuts it quietly, and starts screaming like my mum can't hear it, like it was a soundproof room. But mother fricker, my mum was outside calling someone. So I guess my mum's deaf? Anyway, I'm much taller than this lady, which is still important, and I'll tell you how the conversation goes. She said, "I thought I told you to let my son play." Yes, I did, but no fricking buts. You let my son play again right fricking now. He tried slamming my stuff, and don't interrupt me, he tried slamming my mouse and destroying it. "I don't give a crap about your stuff." She starts unplugging my PC. I said, "What the frick are you doing? Get out of my house." I pulled her off while her child is trying to climb it again, and then I pulled the kid off. "How dare you touch my child, you gosh damn child unspeakable act offender." And she slapped me, and I'm in disbelief. She then manages to pull my computer off my desk and starts walking away until I turn around from disbelief, and asked, "What the frick do you think you're doing?" At this point, my mother comes into the room. My mum grabs the laptop. "What is going on here?" "Your son wouldn't let my son play games on his Xbox, so we took it, and he's too old to play games anyway." My mum says, "Give my son his laptop back right now, please." And with the biggest smirk on my face, I open my mouth and yell, "You ugly fricking cow Karen witch butt, get the frick out of my house." She says, "No," and starts calling someone. "Yes, hello. I have a guy here who just touched my child inappropriately and is verbally harassing me and assaulting me." Most whimpery voice ever. "It's at this address. It's a woman and a man. No weapons. No. Yeah, I'm safe right now. Okay, thank you." We didn't do crap about it, but she called the cops. The fricking cops. So the cops came. One officer was talking to my mother. "Excuse me, miss, were you the one who…" And the entitled mother butts in with, "Yes, I'm the one who called. Oh Lord, they touched my son and me." I'm standing right next to my mother. I say, I have no clue what she's talking about. Officer 1 says, "Please wait while she's talking." Entitled mother attempts to explain everything, even how I stopped her kid from climbing on my desk, how she hit me, how I yelled at her, and how I pulled her kid off my desk. Officer 2 says, It sounds like you made a pretty bad image for yourself considering it's his house and your kid was climbing on his stuff. So he had every right and you hit him. So you're pretty much at fault if you ask me. Officer 1 says, yeah, this is pretty stupid, you're right. Now for some reason this made the lady super mad. Did you just call me stupid? No ma'am, Who the frick do you think you are? And her dumb butt tries to tackle the officer and it's the most cringy thing when she just falls off him. The officer stands there like, well, you're going to jail. Cuffs him and asks if I'd like to press charges. I said no and just wanted her out of my house. Well, that was insane. Has this woman never been around another human being before? Because I don't see how she's made it 4 years into motherhood without being arrested at this point. Maybe it isn't even her kid. Maybe she's fresh out of the loony bin and just managed to hold it together long enough to track down an old friend from before she lost her fricking mind. Honestly, I don't know that the story is real just because it seems so unlikely that this woman was just roaming around unarrested in regular life, especially if she behaved like this all the time. About as unlikely as it would be that the author's mother wouldn't see what was coming. The only part of the story that I won't contest is that completely unsuitable people like this do seem to reproduce constantly, otherwise we wouldn't have nearly as many stories to report on here. But this woman's Karen-ness just goes that bit beyond what we normally have, so I'm not sure if I totally buy it. If it's true, she's 100% the jerk, and no further inquiry. Entitled mother goes off on me because my rabbit is fed up with her kid. As a bit of backstory, I have a rabbit named Widget. He's an American chinchilla and Himalayan mix. He's black with brown eyes and grey and white fur in the bottom of his paws. I've had him for 4 years and he's really good with being handled. You can pick him up and carry him, move him around, among other things. I have a harness for him and I take him to the park every other weekend or so. The vet says he's a good weight, but I like to keep him in shape. He's great with kids. My cousin's 7-year-old kids play with him every time they're over. My rabbit, while well-trained, is still a prey animal. He'd thump his back legs to let me know he's fed up with attention and just wants to be left alone. On to the story. Last Sunday, I thought it would be funny to take him out for a walk considering it was Easter. I put him in his carrier and I took him to the park that's a few blocks from my house. We got there, I snapped the harness on and attached the leash, and we headed out. He starts bounding and leaping, and I have to keep up with him. The rabbit controls the walk. You can gently tug on the leash but not pull it, that could harm their spine. I've attracted some attention from other people curious about Widget at this point. I explain the story of how I've had him since he was a baby and whatnot. They ask to pet him, and I say sure. I always tell people his favorite spot is his cheeks. He turns to putty when you pet him there. Most people just come, take a picture or pet him, and then leave us alone. But not these 3 little girls. Again, Widget is great with kids, and these girls seem very well behaved. One looked like she was 9, the other looked about 5, and one more was about 3. They all looked like sisters. They asked to pet him, and I said yes. I even offer one of them to give him a treat if they want. The 5-year-old one agreed, and I gave her a yogi. Widget took no time in eating it out of her palm. After a bunch of petting and, "Oh, he's so cute," I hear the thumping. Okay, girls, he's getting tired. I'm going to take him home now. They looked sad but understood. The 3-year-old didn't care and kept petting him. He thumped again. I said, "Sweetie, that's enough. I have to get him home." "No! He needs a nap." At this point, the 9-year-old grabs her sister and the little girl started screaming bloody murder. "I want the bunny! No! Wah!" I gently pet Widget and pick him up so that I can carry him back to the car. As I turn around, someone screams at me, "Excuse me, what did you do to my daughter?" So I turn and I see this woman. She looks to be in her late 30s. Her hair is in a workout ponytail and she's wearing workout clothes. I say, "I didn't do anything, she wanted to keep petting my rabbit, but he's getting frustrated so I'm taking him home." "Oh, it's just an animal. Why can't my daughter pet him anymore?" He's tired of it, he wants to be left alone. "Then how come you're holding him?" I raised him. He knows who his mother is. "All of you pet owners are the same. Who cares what the animal is feeling? Just let my daughter pet him." I say, "Happy Easter," and I turn around and walk away in an attempt to end the interaction. She grabbed my sleeve and yanked me so hard I almost dropped my rabbit. I set him down and screamed at her, "Are you crazy? Let my daughter pet him." I'm taking deep breaths. We've attracted a few bystanders. If she tries to pet him again, and he's fed up, he'll start to feel threatened, and he could lunge at her and maybe bite her. "No, he can't. He's just a rabbit. They're gentle creatures." I look at Widget and see the girl is petting him again. I tell her to stop, and the mother just keeps talking over me. Widget thumps his legs 2 more times and then lunges at the girl. She's giggling, thinking it's funny. I'm warning you. The 9-year-old, Mom, let's just go. The bunny is tired and we don't want to upset. The 3-year-old starts wailing. The mother runs over to her and I pick up Widget. He nuzzles into my neck, trying to hide from the excitement. The 3-year-old has a mark on her hand. There's a little bit of blood, but not enough to warrant a lot of concern. The lady is furious. She points at Widget. That rabbit is a rabid animal. It bit my princess and needs to be put down. A random citizen says, She told you to leave him alone. Your kid had to learn the hard way. She seems embarrassed, but just picked up the 3-year-old, grabbed the 5-year-old by the hand and left. The 9-year-old says, Sorry, miss. Bye, Widget. I turn around and start walking away. Widget is trembling. I get him in his travel case and I take him home. I gave him another yogi once we were home. I put him in his cage and he flopped to his side and took a nap. I do feel bad for the kid. She didn't deserve to get bitten. She's still young and her mother just needed to teach her to understand that no means no. Unfortunately, her mum doesn't seem that well equipped. Hopefully her dad teaches her. Was I the jerk for letting the inevitable bite happen? Yeah, the author is first of all correct in that the 3-year-old kid can't really be blamed for that. A literal toddler isn't going to listen to anyone but their parent or something scary, and the mother in question was not at all interested in responsibly teaching boundaries with strangers and their pets. So the little girl gets the inevitable and forewarned chomping of a lifetime. What is it with the parents in these stories and equating animals as being completely unworthy of consideration for their comfort? It's almost like if you view an animal purely as an inanimate possession with no other value, you're a garbage person. That's just a bit of the narrator's personal bias shining through though. There might be some hope in the genes of this family. The 9-year-old girl seems nice. Hopefully there's some of that in the 3-year-old somewhere. She's going to need that inherent decency with the shocking example being set for her by her mother. And I can't stress this enough, thank God that awful woman didn't come after you and try to make poor Widget pay for what he did to her baby. Nobody wants that to be something you have to deal with, especially not the narrator of this video. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, linked below. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. You only pay mileage for the shortest possible trip? Okay then, you have to pay my tolls. At my job, every day I have to travel between 2 offices. I start at my main office and then have to travel to the second office, then back to my main office. Because I'm using my personal vehicle for this travel, the company pays me mileage. Well, there are basically 2 routes you can take between the 2 offices. One is about a mile round trip shorter, but has tolls. So I always took the 1 mile longer route and avoided the tolls. I did it this way for a year. Well, in comes the new bookkeeper and she is hell-bent on saving the company money. And where does she think all this wasteful money is going? Expense reports, obviously. So she starts nitpicking every report. Like if someone is out and has to buy some pens for work, she goes online and finds the cheapest price possible for those pens and only reimburses for that cheaper price. It obviously has annoyed several people. Well, she eventually decided to target me. I submitted my report for 2 weeks and a few days later get the reimbursement payment. And it's $5.85 short. I ask her about it and she says, I've been ripping the company off for the past year by taking the longer route between the offices. She'll only pay mileage for the shorter route from now on, and I'm lucky that I don't go back and get all of the extra from the past year. I say, okay, but please send me the instructions that I must take the shorter route and that this is company policy, and I leave her office. Before I've even made it back to my desk, I had the email from her confirming what she said. 2 weeks later, I submit my expense report. I reported the shorter route, so the company had saved the $5.85, but the tolls added up to $136, a net loss for the company of $130.15. It's been 6 months and I'm still taking the shorter route, costing the company an extra $130.15 every 2 weeks. Yep, that is some grade A malicious compliance right there. But also, this supposedly miserly bookkeeper will moan and gripe about a trip being $5.50 too expensive, but doesn't notice the extra $130 in costs once you've complied with her demands? Maybe she remembers that you have her orders in writing and is just sort of hoping that everyone else overlooks it as well. I have to stress yet again, these expense people always seem to go after tiny, insignificant amounts of money to help balance the company budgets instead of just, axing someone from the one place that only ever seems to make people sad and increase expenses. That being the expense-responsible staff member in accounting. Seriously though, I feel like these particular people rear their heads a lot in this series. Get your crap together, bookkeepers. Gave a ride home to my boss. Huge mistake. I'm a 26-year-old male and I work at a local big box store. It sucks, I know, but I haven't had much luck entering the career I studied for. I worked a closing shift last week and I noticed that my boss was having car issues and I asked if he needed a ride. I drove him home and it was really awkward. He just talked about work and I got the sense it was his entire world. As I dropped him off, he says, "Pick me up here tomorrow at 7 a.m. I was like, yeah, sure, because I thought he was joking. He proceeds to tell me his car will need to be taken to a mechanic and he needs a ride tomorrow at 7 a.m. I reluctantly agreed. I've been driving him into work for a week now and he's gone so far as to change my shift schedule so that I start at the same time as him every day and get off at closing. He has me off for 4 hours in the middle of the shift so that I don't rack up any overtime hours. Yesterday, while driving him home, which is 15 minutes out of my way, I asked if he could pay for some gas. He went nuts. He said that I should be glad to even have a job and that I should be grateful for being able to make a connection with someone who's in a powerful position inside the company. I need the job, but I don't know what the heck to do. He hasn't even told me when his car is expected to be fixed. Life sucks right now. Wow, your boss is an absolute member. This is the reason why so many of us just don't do the right thing and help strangers. There are scumbags like him who'll take your whole arm off the moment you, for once in your life, try to do the right thing and offer a helping hand. I assume a big box store is a minimum wage retail job unless I'm mistaken, so screwing this employee around and stranding him in another part of town unless he drives back and uses more petrol really just comes across as callous and nasty. Maybe he could, just get screwed because it really seems like a net negative from every perspective. Sucks to be the author. Am I the jerk for unpacking my girlfriend's towel? I and my girlfriend have been dating for about 2 years. My girlfriend has beautiful hair that seems a lot more low maintenance than most women I know. She doesn't use 100 different hair products, nor does she blow it dry. It honestly doesn't take her long to style her hair or anything. However, she always insists on using this special towel to dry her hair. She insists that she can't use any regular towel for her hair. She gets mad if I use her hair towel as a regular towel as well. She says that the towel should only be used for her hair. She even bought an extra one of these towels that she keeps in a drawer at my place. She also takes the towel with her when she goes on vacation. I usually don't mind it, since the towel doesn't take up much space, and it's better than listening to a hairdryer all the time. But it's a bit weird because I don't know anyone else who has a towel just for their hair. For Thanksgiving, we traveled to see my family. Before the trip, I asked my girlfriend to leave her towel at home, since we'll be staying at my parents' house. I didn't want my family to think she was weird or make fun of her. Since we planned to leave early in the morning, girlfriend spent the night at my place. I noticed that she packed the towel she kept at my place in her suitcase. When she was asleep, I took the towel out. She didn't notice that the towel was gone until after we got to my parents' house. I thought it was okay, and my girlfriend didn't seem mad at all during the whole trip. However, when we got back to my place, my girlfriend got into her car and drove off without saying goodbye. She texted me later saying she's mad at me because of that stupid towel and she needs some space. I keep calling and texting her, but she won't respond. My friends think she's being overly dramatic, but my girlfriend isn't that type of person. Now I'm wondering if I messed up. Am I the jerk? I don't know, man. I know that this is a relatively low-stakes story, and we're not dealing with some of our other arrays of madness, vandalism, and sabotage that we often deal with on the channel. But what's with the author not letting her bring her towel because they, and I quote, didn't want my family to think she was weird or make fun of her? If that happens, my man, you stand up for your partner because that is not the kind of thing that her in-laws should be tearing her apart over on a family visit. And the fact that you thought that they would definitely do that raises some really interesting questions about them. And then you had to go sneaky and manipulative and go behind her back to get rid of the offending item. I don't know if I think your intentions were even in the right place, but even if they were, you went about this in such a weird way. I'll admit I'm curious about what's going on with your girlfriend's magic hair and towel, though. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories. Or if you want to check out some great music, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, give Am I the Genius a shot. Everything linked in the description.